He wasn't thinking about the war, not in that moment, not when he heard the sound. It didn't belong there. It wasn't the distant echo of gunfire or the heavy rumble of artillery fading beyond the hills. It wasn't the sharp commands of officers or the hurried footsteps of soldiers retreating or advancing. It was softer, fragile, a sound that didn't belong in a place where everything else had already been broken. A child crying. He stopped. For a second, the world around him seemed to hold its breath. The wind that carried ash through the ruined village slowed, as if even it were listening. His grip tightened around his rifle, not out of fear, but out of uncertainty. This didn't make sense. The village had been cleared hours ago. His unit had moved forward, leaving behind only destruction. Collapsed houses, shattered glass, doors hanging from broken hinges, and the faint smell of smoke still clinging to the air. No civilians. That was the assumption, that was the rule. But the crying came again, weak, uneven, desperate, and now there was no doubt. Someone was still there. For a moment, instinct told him to ignore it. Keep moving, rejoin his unit. Survive, because in war, hesitation could get you killed. And traps were common. The enemy knew how to use sound, how to lure soldiers into exposed positions, how to turn compassion into a weapon. But something about this sound was different. There was no pattern, no deception, no hidden rhythm meant to draw him in, just fear, pure and simple. He exhaled slowly and took a step forward, then another. His boots pressed against the dirt and debris, each movement careful, controlled. His eyes scanned every shadow, every broken wall, every possible angle where danger could be waiting. The crying guided him, through what used to be a street, past a burned-out cart, around a wall that had collapsed inward, until he saw it, or rather, him. A small boy, no older than 6 or 7, crouched behind what remained of a doorway. His clothes were covered in dust, his face streaked with tears and dirt. His hands trembled as he tried to stay quiet, as if he knew that making noise was dangerous, but couldn't stop himself. For a moment the soldier just stood there. He had seen many things in the war, things he would never forget, things he wished he could. But this didn't belong with the rest. The boy looked up. Their eyes met. And in that instant, something shifted. There was no enemy, no sides, no war, just a child and a man who didn't know what to do. He lowered his rifle slightly, not completely, just enough. "Hey," he whispered, though he wasn't sure why. The boy didn't respond. He only stared, his breathing uneven, his body tense like he might run at any second, or freeze, or disappear into the rubble. The soldier glanced around again. Still nothing. Too quiet. And that was the problem. Because silence in war rarely lasted, and when it broke violently. Then he heard it. Voices. Distant at first, then clearer. Enemy soldiers. Moving through the village. Searching. The boy heard them too. His small body stiffened, and his breathing turned shallow, almost silent. Fear had taken over completely now. There was no more crying, only waiting. The soldier's mind raced. This wasn't part of his mission. This wasn't something he had been trained for. Helping the boy meant staying. Staying meant risk. Risk meant death. He could walk away. He should walk away. That was the logical choice. That was the safe choice. But his feet didn't move. Instead, he crouched down slowly, bringing himself closer to the boy's level. "It's okay," he said, barely above a whisper. The words felt strange, out of place, but he said them anyway. The voices were getting closer, too close. There was no more time, no more thinking, only action. In one motion, he reached forward and lifted the boy into his arms. The child tensed immediately, instinctively resisting, but there was no strength behind it, no real struggle, just fear. "I've got you," the soldier whispered. Then he turned and ran. Not fast, not recklessly, but with urgency, controlled, precise, every step chosen carefully, avoiding open ground, moving through cover, staying close to walls, using the broken village as protection. Behind him, the voices grew louder. Shouts. Orders. They had been seen, or maybe they had just noticed movement. Either way, it didn't matter. They were coming. The soldier's heart pounded against his ribs, but his movements remained steady. Panic would only get them both killed. He needed somewhere to hide, somewhere close, somewhere temporary. He spotted it, a partially collapsed house, one side still standing enough to provide cover. He moved toward it quickly and slipped inside, lowering the boy gently to the ground. "Stay quiet," he said. The child nodded, barely. The soldier positioned himself near what used to be a wall, now just enough structure to conceal them. His breathing slowed, his ears focused on the sounds outside. Footsteps, closer, then right outside. A shadow moved across the broken doorway. The soldier tightened his grip on the rifle. This was it. The door, what remained of it, shifted, then slowly opened. An officer stepped in. His uniform marked him immediately. Authority, experience. Someone used to being obeyed. His weapon was already raised. His eyes scanned the room, sharp, alert. And then they stopped. On them. On the soldier. On the boy. Everything froze. Time stretched into something unrecognizable. The soldier didn't move, didn't breathe, didn't think. Because there was nothing left to do, no escape, no cover. No second chance. The officer's gaze shifted from the soldier to the child, and something changed, subtle but undeniable. His expression softened just for a fraction of a second, confusion, recognition, then something deeper. The boy looked up, and in a voice barely audible he spoke, "Papa." The word hung in the air, and suddenly the war disappeared. The officer's weapon lowered, slowly, not out of hesitation, not out of uncertainty, but because something else had taken its place, something stronger than orders, stronger than allegiance, stronger than the war itself. He took a step forward, then stopped, looking at the man in front of him, the man who could have walked away, the man who should have walked away, but didn't. No words were spoken, none were needed, because everything that mattered had already happened. After a long moment, the officer stepped back, turned, and walked out. No commands, no shots, no explanation, just a decision. And then, silence. The soldier remained still, unable to process what had just happened. The boy moved slightly, still shaken, but alive. They were both alive, and for the first time since the war had begun, the soldier felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Not relief, not victory, something else, something quieter, something human, because in the middle of chaos, destruction, and everything that war takes away, there are moments that don't belong to it, moments where the lines disappear, where enemies don't look like enemies, where a choice changes everything. And in that ruined village, for just a few seconds, that choice was made.